Hey everybody, we are going live today to talk about working with a travel advisor. This is just a super basic concept, but I wanted to go over this at this point because this is what we call in the industry wave season. And wave season means that this is a time when we get a lot of influx of new inquiries and new clients. And a lot of times these clients, because they are new, they've never worked with a travel advisor before. I hear that so often. I get an email or a text or a call, and I'm like, okay, I've never done this before. I've never worked with a travel advisor. And so I tend to walk through this conversation a lot with new clients. So I thought it would be helpful if I put together this little live stream and just talk about what that actually looks like, because maybe you've never worked with a travel advisor before. You're a little intimidated by something like that. You're not sure what it's going to cost you. And so, yeah, I just want to walk through the process, alleviate any anxieties. And of course, if you have any questions at all, you can drop them in the comments, and I will try to address those either as we go or at the end. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions. That's why I'm here. So let's kind of get started with, like I said, it's wave season. We are getting that influx of new requests. So this is a very busy season for a lot of travel advisors. So just know that up front, that if you've never worked with one of us before, it's our busy season, but we love to work with new clients, and it's totally appropriate time to reach out to someone new, to reach out to a new travel advisor you've never worked with before. We're very used to it. It's not new to us in this kind of season. So let's kind of talk about, preparing for the first step with working with a travel advisor. So that's typically going to be to schedule a call. I really enjoy scheduling a call with my clients, mostly because I don't see this as like a transaction. I'm not just booking something for you and moving on. This is really a relationship that I'm building with you. And this is my 8th year in this industry, and I have clients that I've had from the very beginning. We exchange Christmas cards. We, send each other pictures of kids and things like that. So this is a relationship. I love starting out that relationship on a phone call, hearing just about your travel goals, your travel style. Everybody has a little bit different, energy that they bring to travel. Maybe you've not done a lot of travel before. Maybe you're super well traveled, and just getting on that consult call really helps me hear your personality and just getting to know your travel style. So typically I do like to start with that consult call. And I will say sometimes, people are busy. I get it. If you don't have time for a consult call, if it doesn't work into your schedule, if email is just something that works a lot better for you, I'm more than happy to work with you. I know we're all busy. So feel free, if you can't jump on my call calendar, to at least shoot me a quick email. And it might be easier to just start that conversation that way. And sometimes, depending on the trip, I can send you over a really easy little form just to gather some information initially from you, and we can get the ball rolling. So again, it is busy season. So sometimes I know my call schedule gets full. So if you see there's a call that's not available for a while, shoot me an email. You never know, I might be able to fit you in too. So to prepare for this consult call, some of the most important things, I've had people ask me that before. What do I do to even prepare? I don't know if I'm going to be prepared for the call. So you really don't have to do a lot, okay? The main thing that I want you to do is think about your destinations, possible destinations. You don't even have to have something nailed down, specific. That's fine. Think about the dates that you are thinking about traveling. Again, it doesn't have to be specific. A lot of times, I tell people to think about the dates they can't travel. So working around school schedules, working around like weddings or important events like graduations. So sometimes that's more helpful, is giving me dates you can't travel. So think about that. And then just thinking about the kind of trip that you want to take, the vision that you have, and I'll touch on that a little bit more here in a second. And then lastly is the budget. So again, you don't have to do a ton of research before you come on our consult call. Like, I have literally heard it all. I was, you know, on the phone with somebody talking about Italy, and they know they've always wanted to go, but they're like, honestly, I don't really know what I want to see when I'm there. And I'm like, that's fine. Like, no worries. It's okay. You don't have to have done all the research. That's why you have me. So don't feel like you have to. The main things that I would think about is like your priorities and your must haves. That's super important to communicate with me on that consult call. So, for example, let's say that you've always wanted to go to London, you've always wanted to have like a Harry Potter experience. Okay, great. Like that's a must have. Like that's the whole purpose for your trip. Communicate that with me on the consult call. And if you don't know anything else that you want to do in the city, no worries. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm going to plan an awesome full experience for you in London. And we will make sure we get the Harry Potter stuff in there as well. So think about those must haves, that vision, and the priorities that you have, just even like for the pace of the trip or like, what you enjoy. A lot of times people don't know exactly what they want to do, but I'll be like, are you a foodie? Do you like art museums? What was your favorite trip you've ever been on? Tell me about why you loved it. So sometimes it's not about you coming prepared with like all these specifics and like all this research. Like you don't have to have read a Rick Steves book before you talk to me. But just come with kind of more of a nebulous vision for the trip. And then probably the most important thing to come to the trip or come to the consult call prepared with is your budget. This is super, super important to talk with all the stakeholders in the trip about the budget and what you're wanting to spend before the consult call. I know if you haven't done a lot of traveling in the past, that may feel a little bit backwards, but travel does not have a specific cost. So many times people ask me, well, what does this trip to Spain cost? What does this trip to Greece cost? And I'm like, wow, there are so many factors to that. And I really can't give a solid answer. And it's just because I tell people like, travel does not have a set cost. Like you could go on a Greyhound or you could fly private. That's going to cost very different things. You can stay in a hostel or you can stay at a 5-star luxury resort. These are going to be vastly different experiences. There's so many variants when it comes to travel costs. So you need to come to the table with the budget that you feel comfortable spending and the investment that you want to spend. And please talk to those stakeholders. My honeymooners, talk to parents or grandparents before our call because you may not be footing the bill for this and you need to know what the budget is. Or, wives, if you need to talk to your spouse or something like that before we get on the call, that's great because you just want to make sure you have that conversation beforehand. I will gladly play marriage counselor. I've done it in the past, but it's always nice when you guys can have a set budget beforehand. And I can talk to you about whether that's realistic, if maybe we need to make some adjustments to that, or if we need to adjust our expectations a little bit to match the budget. I keep it 100, you all. So I will be very transparent about budget. So don't let that hold you back from having the consult call, or be nervous about it. I've heard every budget you can imagine. So that's really like how to prepare for the call. And again, like don't stress about geography or looking at maps or doing a lot of research. That's my job. And we'll kind of navigate that on the call. And I'll kind of let you know, hey, these things aren't really close together. Let's try to game plan something else. Okay. But don't worry about that. We can talk about that on the call. So, then kind of the next part is, on the call and this planning process and how these things work together. So like I said, on the call, I'm going to be asking you a ton of questions. And they're really just to hear more about you and hear your personality. And then these questions are designed to help me in the planning process match up your vision with the actual trip itself and the logistics. So getting into the planning process, the first thing that I want to talk about, and I'll kind of hit on it here in a little bit, is the planning fee. So a lot of us travel advisors, we put in so much time into planning the perfect trip for you. And let's say like a customized European itinerary. This takes hours of research, hours of planning. I really pride myself in listening to my clients and making sure I'm navigating all the options perfectly for them. So I do require a planning fee for some of my trips. And that just covers my time up front. It protects my existing clients to make sure that I'm utilizing my time well for them. And, it's just making sure that you're serious about travel and not just a pie in the sky idea. So it's not a large planning fee. We'll discuss it on the free consult call. Don't let that hold you back. Some of my trips, I do not even charge a planning fee. So we can talk about that on the consult call. Okay, so getting into the planning process. So after the consult call, then I will, and if we, need to do the planning fee, we'll take care of that. And then after that, I'm going to begin putting together all the different options that match up with what we talked about and match what you are looking for. I'm going to send you a detailed proposal. It's going to have descriptions and images. Sometimes it has videos, pricing information, and inclusions. And this is going to come to your inbox. We can share it again with any stakeholders. If you have like a group going, or if mom's paying for the honeymoon and you need to send it to her too, that's fine. So I share this and you guys can kind of look it over, discuss it with all the travelers, see everybody's ideas. And then we really just go back and forth from there. We make any changes. I get feedback from you all. Sometimes it doesn't always hit every little thing right off the bat. That's totally fine. We want to go back to the drawing board. I always tell people, like, this is your trip. I want you to be happy. Like, if I've planned one too many museums for you, please tell me now, because you don't want to be miserable on your own trip. Okay. So I answer any questions that you have. And then we just make sure you're 100% happy with the itinerary. And we kind of like lock it in per se. And we say, yep, we're ready to roll. At that point, you're going to get me your information, your travel information, as far as like passport details. And then I will send you a form for collecting payment information for the deposit. And then I make all the bookings, like literally. You fill out 2 little digital forms, super simple and easy, and I take care of the rest. Like, I make sure everything else is done. I'll send you an invoice so you have a receipt of everything. It just makes it super simple. Like, I do all the crazy booking stuff. So no stress there. Sometimes that really stresses people out. This is what I do day in and day out, is scour flight schedules and hotels and all that kind of stuff. So I'm used to the language. I'm used to all that. And I know that can be stressful for some people. So I take care of all that for you. So that's kind of the planning process. And at that point, really, we kind of go on pause for just a little bit, and I might reach out closer to your departure date. I have a concierge, Kelly, who can plan some dining for you if you want. We can look at planning kind of smaller logistical details or some added excursions or things like that, activities. So we do that a little bit closer to departure. And then, then I collect final payment and I keep up with all the dates. So you don't have to worry about, am I going to miss a payment? When is this due? You don't have to worry about that. I take care of all the payments. I have lots of reminders and things like that are set up. So you are good there. So let's kind of go on to the one question that I get a lot of times with people who have never worked with a travel agent before is, okay, this all sounds way too good to be true. Like, how do you get paid? Like, 'cause how is this not costing me any more money? And that's a great question. So I just like to be very transparent with people. So for the most part, I would say most travel agents are paid solely on commissions. We are paid by our suppliers. So whenever we match you up with the correct destination and the correct resort, our suppliers are so grateful for doing all of that work, for finding the client and matching up the appropriate client to the appropriate resort, that they in turn pay us a commission. So this doesn't cost you anymore. A lot of times you can go on, I'm just going to use sandals for an example. You can go on Sandals website and shop it, and I see the exact same thing. Okay. So I'm going to see it, either that commission is going into Sandals' pocket or it's going into a local advisor that you have contact with in your community. So just keep that in mind. Things like Sandals, things like Disney, the published fare is going to be the exact same as what we see. And you're just paying that commission to me instead of a big, large company like Disney. And you have someone kind of on your side advocating for you. That's not the company. So the other thing that you could think about too is actually we save our clients a lot of money. So I'll give you an example. Because we work with preferred partners and suppliers, they a lot of times will offer us rates that the public cannot see. So we work with consolidators. You can't shop those rates, only we can. And cruise lines, for example, we see a lot of rates and group rates that you can't see. So just keep that in mind that a lot of times the pricing that you can see, we can actually get a better price for. So sometimes we can save our clients big money, which is always a good thing. And then also too, we just have added perks. So for example, once you get in destination, because we're a preferred partner with our suppliers, we've contacted them ahead of time. We have certain connections and we make sure that, you get those added perks of having booked with a travel advisor. So that's how we get paid. Those planning fees that I talked about before are pretty nominal. So we also get paid that way, but it's pretty much solely commissions that we earn from our suppliers. So it really doesn't cost you any money to use a travel agent. So there you go. Demystified that one. All right. So what's all included for you as an advisor? Now, like when you are a traveler working with I'll be specific here, a picture this travel advisor, specifically myself, I'm going to talk about what I do and the other agents that I work with in our small boutique agency. Definitely treat the clients the same. I will say you may not get this with all travel advisors, so no promises, but this is what we do with our clients. So what you get is you get a super easy app to use during travel, which is really nice. All your trip details are all together. Your documents, your tickets, your vouchers, everything is in one place. There's a little chat feature on there. You can send me a quick message. You get updates on flights. So the app is amazing. You can access it before your trip. I put in tips and tricks for you in there. So yeah, the app is a huge perk for so many of my clients, and you're not having to keep up with like confirmation emails from 6 months ago, if you booked it on your own. The other thing too that you get is you get the connections that we have to our in-country partners. So for example, I have, on my WhatsApp, I have so many contacts for drivers and tour guides and, company, like head of companies and that are specific to certain destinations and tour operators, like they're on my WhatsApp, like we text each other in real time. So I have made these connections over the years. Again, I've been in the industry for 8 years. Other agents in our office have made these connections when they've been traveling themselves. So, I can text the butler when you go to my favorite all-inclusive. I text my butler that I have. And I'm like, hey, Rodolfo, make sure you take care of all my clients. They're coming this week. So I have those connections. Those people are in my WhatsApp. Like I can text them, and that's what I provide to my clients. And then also too, like that 24/7 support. Like when I say 24/7, I mean it. I am thankful that over the last 8 years, I haven't gotten a ton of in the middle of the night phone calls because most things run pretty smoothly, but crazy things happen. And, I've gotten woken up at 4 a.m. and help my clients out with whatever they need, or I'm there for, a quick text if there's something that you have a question about. So you do get that 24/7 support. Talking to a real person. Again, it's about a relationship. So I want to make sure that you feel confident when you travel. And sometimes it's just being a listening ear. Like at the end of the day, we're advisors and you can do whatever kind of trip that you want to do, but it's just nice sometimes to voice an opinion or voice a thought and just to kind of get some honest and informed feedback from someone that's a professional. So, know that I'm a call away when you check your passport and realize it's mega expired and your trip is coming up in a month. Know that I'm a text away when the impending snowstorm is about to disrupt your flight home from Mexico. I'm a text away when you forget, how much did this boat tour cost me again? I want to make sure that I tip the guide appropriately. And I'm a text away when you forget, or when you're deciding, like, hey, should I upgrade my cabin on this cruise? Because I kind of think I want to upgrade. So, literally, these were all text messages and calls that I have gotten in the last 3 days from my clients. And I was a listening ear for all of them. I was able to shoot them a quick text back or give them a phone call back and just give them some advice, listen to what they had to say, map out some things. And I've seen a lot in 8 years. I've seen the whole world shut down and how that impacted travel. I've seen a lot of different kinds of travel emergencies occur. So I love being that rational voice, kind of talking you down. It's all good. It pretty much everything's fixable. And just knowing that you have someone that is the voice of reason that you can reach out to when you are feeling anxious about your travels or when you have an issue arise. I am here. Big or small travel emergency, I am here to just listen and hopefully give some good advice to you. So, um, you know, kind of just wrapping up this conversation and wrapping up this process of what it looks like to work with a travel advisor. It's a new year, okay? Everybody is daydreaming about vacation because we're looking outside and we're seeing the miserable snow and the cold, and we are ready to get somewhere else besides where we are. So just know that you are not alone in the daydreaming process. Don't stress. Don't be paralyzed by the overwhelming amount of options. Instead, send me an email, send me a message, schedule a call. You will be so glad that you did that and you took that first step of working with an advisor. And you're going to realize, whoa, why was I not doing this all along? I had coffee with some clients, some repeat clients that we've worked together multiple times over the years, and we just met up for coffee and we're chatting some travel goals for this year and next year. And she said, we refer you to everyone because it's not if something goes wrong, it's when something goes wrong. We want to have someone in our corner. We want to feel like we have someone that's going to be there to help us. And, travel's wild. Flights are crazy. Hotels are crazy. Being totally across the world in another country and another culture, it can be kind of crazy. But just know that travel advisors are here to help you, to be a listening ear, and we want to help you get to all the lovely places that are on your bucket list. So I hope you learned something new and about working with a travel agent. So I'm just kind of looking at these comments really quick to wrap up. And my lovely client and friend, Rachel, I'm so glad that you said the app was helpful. They went with us last year to my favorite resort. And that's just so awesome that you felt like the app was helpful. And I'm glad that I could be responsive to any questions that you had. That's definitely my goal. So, like you said, if you don't know the language, if you don't know the culture, just realizing that you have us in your corner to be able to advocate for you. And we have those personal contacts on your behalf. So thanks, Rachel. I appreciate that. So yeah, definitely schedule a call, send me an email. I'm so looking forward to serving you in 2025.